Hello and welcome to the Horse Race Politics podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Louis Bromfield, postdoctoral researcher in politics at Swansea University. And in exciting news, I'm thrilled to announce that Horse Race Politics is now live. Go to horseracepolitics.com, all one word, all lowercase, to sign up and get forecasting. Earn points, climb the leaderboards, develop your own forecasting persona, chat to others, and complete daily tasks now. In less exciting news, I'm joined by my co-host, Professor Matthew Wall. How are you doing today, buddy?
Doing Weddy Blino still.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah.
as usual, I'm just tired on a Wednesday morning for recording.
Fair enough. Well, and in most exciting news, it is our pleasure to be joined today by the Deputy Leader of the Welsh Greens. Congratulations on the promotion. The wonderful Phil Davies. How are you doing today,
Yeah,
Phil?
Really good. Really enjoying being here. Thank you for having me on.
I think with that title, you are without a doubt the most prestigious and influential person that we've ever met in our entire lives.
That's good to know,
Matt's down at the bottom.
We were just bantering before, so we're recording in Swansea. So Snoop Doggy Dog, Snizzle Dizzy Dizzle was in. So like that would be a better guest,
yes,
but I think we can all accept he'd be a better guest than us. But in the absence of Snoop, this is the next best guest going in the whole city right now.
Almost as famous.
Better rapper, actually, surprisingly. Yeah.
So I think we'll just dive straight into it, Phil. With,
no problem.
With just if you could introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah.
Tell us about yourself. How did you get into politics? And what was it specifically about the Welsh Greens that drew you in?
No problem. So I guess I start off by saying I was born in Cwmbran. Well, born in Newport, but I'm from Cwmbran in Torfaen in South Wales. Grew up, relatively normal, but I would say I'm a bit of a weirdo in terms of politics because we didn't really have anyone knocking out doors where I lived. I was in the valleys, we didn't have, it was like political nihilism essentially. Labour take it for granted. So we didn't really have anything apart from the occasional free post at election time.
Nice.
So it wasn't like a massively politically active household or anything. Like my parents both voted, but it wasn't like I grew up
steeped in politics,
immersed in politics or anything like that. But I'd say my first real big political moment was I was in school. I would be 14, 15, so 2010 general election time.
Nice.
Clegmania. Yes, Clegmania. But I was in.
I remember it well.
I remember I was sat in a science class. I believe it was a Wednesday morning.
Nice.
Overcrowded, underfunded school. We were sharing books between like 8 people, one textbook, and this was like a few weeks before the general election, so it was in April, and I heard a BNP van going round and round and round near the school. Vote for the BNP.
Wow.
Protect your area.
Oh, so this is a very old school campaign. You still see it in Swansea. I saw it in the last election. So someone driving around in a car with a literal hailer on top, and they're just spouting like vote for the candidate.
Yes.
Yeah. So this was the BNP.
This was the BNP. And
so for people who don't remember, could you tell us what the BNP? I mean, it still exists, but it was more prominent.
Yeah, the British National Party, Nick Griffin, most famous appearances on Question Time and other things. Yeah, really, really right-wing party. I mean, it still exists.
They'd be centre ground now, as far as I can tell.
Possibly,
at the time, this was the sort of British far right.
Yes.
And widely agreed to be far right.
Yes, and they did have elected councillors in certain areas as well. I know they were quite strong in Burnley at one point and certain London councils. But anyway, another thing about my area is there's quite a large Nepalese population there. Children of Gurkhas that have come to the UK, and Cwmbran's one of the big sites in Wales for that. So we had quite the school was quite diverse, even though it's in the South Wales Valleys, which is still obviously overwhelmingly predominantly white, the same as all of Wales is. But we had this relatively large Nepalese population, and I had friends as well, from Pakistani, Indian backgrounds and stuff, and just hearing the BNP drive around, I was just like,
you're not having it.
Yeah, get out of my area. I know the area's got problems. I know the poverty in the area. Well, I also know that isn't caused by immigrants coming here. So I was just like F off.
So this whole process was kind of a reactive process on your part, of just but was it like I'm angry at this and you just rebounded into Greens, or was it just into kind of left-wing politics?
No, I didn't. So I've probably naturally always been left-wing anyway, but I always had no time for Labour, and I mean, most people in the valleys at some point, even like people my age, I guess, under Corbyn would have been like, Labour. I was like, Labour do nothing for my area at all. So I have no.
So, but you were, and just maybe to contextualise, because we're trying to also explain to a wider audience who don't know so much about Wales. So, like, you're coming into the political consciousness at the end of this like long period of Labour dominance, right? So we've like starting in 1997 and it's effectively ending in 2010. So you're at the back end of that phase of British political history, and while there might have been a traditional adherence to Labour in the kind of areas you're describing, which goes further back into the 1980s and the various kind of oppositions. By the time you're coming round, you're like, Labour is just as bad, not just as bad as the BNP, but it's not Labour for you.
No, it's not even that. It's also just the fact they take the era for granted, right? So they've ran the council since Torfaen existed, and obviously since the Seneth's been in existence as well. We've had Labour in the Senedd.
Well, that's also true, right? Yes. So by then you'd had since 99 Labour. Yeah. Both ends of the M4, as we like to say.
Propped up at various times, by Plaid Cymru, Lib Dems at one point as well. But so I never had any time for Labour, and Plaid Cymru just doesn't do anything in my area at all. I would say they like, I don't know how to describe them. In certain pockets of the valleys, they do stuff, but like in my area, there's just nothing from them. So I didn't see them caring about my area at all. But I didn't actually join a political party until much later. So it'd been 2019. But I went to university in Aberystwyth, so
lucky. So some people have to go there.
Lovely coastline.
That is magnificent university.
It's a really nice university. So I did I went through school, did my A-level stuff, went to Aberystwyth, did psychology for 3 years there.
Nice.
Looking back on it, I enjoyed it. Psychology is also really useful. But look back on it, I probably should have either done international politics or history, combined on, isn't it?
Just from your own passions and interests.
Yeah, that's what I was more interested in, I guess. But then I was lucky enough to be able to do a master's degree in international politics at Aberystwyth, which was
nice,
amazing. Really cool department there.
Some amazing colleagues there, for sure.
And also the really cool thing about, at least when I was there, I don't know what it's like now, was it was mostly international students on the course. So the master's course was like, I would say 90% not from the UK.
Wow.
So it was a tiny percentage from the UK, and then loads of Americans, Canadians.
To update you on the state of the higher education system, you might have heard about some policies regarding visas for international students. So the experience you had was unfortunately a relatively short-lived phase in our university history.
Yes.
Because as far as I can tell, of a deliberate government policy to disincentivize international students,
100%,
which is I'm glad that you found the benefit of that. I also had a big international cohort as a student. It was invaluable to me.
100%. It's not just like they bring so much to the discussions you're having within the course, especially if you're doing international politics. But also just like culturally, learning about different people's culture is so important, and just the way different people see the world. And like I said, I was like, there's maybe like 3 Welsh people on the course, which, that does also feed into another problem with why aren't we getting more Welsh people go to Welsh universities.
Well, yes, indeed. But there are policy solutions there too that I can propose.
But so you do your master's degree.
My master's.
Where are we at now?
That is when I decided to join a political party. I didn't want to join a political party whilst I was doing my degree. I wanted to do my degree, and to be honest with you, have fun.
Of course.
Going out having some fun.
You saying being in a political party is not fun?
Well, it is fun. This is one of the fun things I know.
You can make a motion to conference that gets tabled.
Yeah. Well, we were a grassroots party. So
well, I think it's fair to say in the Greens, you've a lot more access to the party policy machinery than in Reform UK, for example.
100%. I mean,
I think that's just true.
One member, one vote. Anyone can bring policy. So like, even a 16-year-old or whatever joins the party today, they have as much power as I do as deputy leader in terms of how we create policy. But 2019 then, we had this whole period constantly of after the Brexit vote, just constant arguments about that, which I could just see was just going nowhere at all.
Yeah.
And then 2019 general election happened, and I thought, right, that's the end of that period of politics, let's say.
You got it done, right?
Yeah.
Finally.
Glad that's over with.
Yeah. Turns out it was the right idea, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, right, we're going to stop talking about
But you can't say it wasn't done.
Yeah.
Right? We did Brexit.
Oh, no, we did it, yeah.
We got it done, as the campaign slogan.
Yes.
So 2019, you're looking for a kind of new phase to start emerging a little bit?
So 2019 general election was obviously in December, so it was the end of the year.
Yes.
But I'd obviously already been engaged with politics for a long time by that point. And in terms of policies, I always thought the Greens were most resembling my value system, I guess.
Cool.
Things I believe in. I think I've only ever voted Greens or Plaid Cymru when Greens weren't standing. So that's why I decided to join Wales Green Party at that time, which was, at the time, was quite a small party as well. I'm not sure what the membership was, but it was tiny compared to what it is now.
It's been an incredible acceleration. I mean, obviously here in Wales, but that is also just riding the Polanski wave that we've seen.
Partly, yeah. So,
countrywide. Yeah.
So the Polanski wave is crazy. I mean, we've shot up where, it was 198,000 yesterday. It might even be over 200,000 now, which is, especially for a Green Party, is absolutely crazy.
Well, and just it bucks against the trend of party membership in Britain going down for what are now, I think, known as the heritage parties. I heard that nomenclature, one that would not please you. So like Labour and the Tories are like, their membership is leaking and sort of aging and not being kind of replaced in an organic way. And here comes this surge.
Yeah, and then within a Welsh context as well. So at the start of last year, we had 2,000 members. We're now well over 7,000. We might be up to 8,000. I haven't checked in a while. But so that's like how much growth has been.
There's probably one person on a spreadsheet, like very stressed out somewhere, I can imagine.
Need more rows. It's not a road.
Activating new members is definitely, a big part of it.
Yeah.
Getting them engaged. But it's been really interesting to see that huge growth in that bit. And a lot of it is, I'm not going to lie, it is down to Polanski.
Of course.
Good media communication. Who would have thought it,
Yeah.
A bit of, eco-socialism, a bit of actual populism, essentially, but in a good way. It'll make people's lives better.
Yeah, so that then brings on to the next question of what is the actual policy platform that brought you to the party, or if it's slightly different now, what is the offer of the Welsh Greens to Welsh voters?
Yeah,
and we do, but just to say, we bear in mind manifestos have yet to be published, so it's not a sort of
very good
gotcha. We're going to make someone reveal something, but it is.
Oh my god, they care about the environment. Oh my god, it's an exclusive.
Well, like you already said, the manifesto will be out at some point in the next.
Well, maybe the first question then is, okay, what part of the policy platform drew you
to
that?
That's a better question.
More specifically, I would say we have the best housing policy, which is a big thing for me. So in terms of introducing rent control and ending zero evictions, which I'm amazed we haven't got in Wales.
That's crazy,
so it's crazy. And Labour could have introduced that instead as well. They voted against it several times, which is crazy. So that's one of the things I do. I do support Welsh independence as well, which Wales Green Party does.
They'd say they took into account the needs of the people who rent the houses out, right? Those are an important constituency in this dynamic. I mean, I was certainly struck. I had to do a discussion for Shelter. I was invited to do a discussion for Shelter Cymru, and I got into the policy, and I was like, they had a big chance and they had a big focus, and they kind of didn't pull the trigger.
No, it's
on a lot of the most popular elements of the policy.
It's absolutely disgraceful. I think part of it also shows like the vested interest there is in politics as well. Like, who are these people representing? Are they actually representing the people that voted for them, or are they representing corporate interests? And that's one of the other reasons why I joined the Green Party. We don't take donations. We don't make big donations from either private individuals or from corporations. We don't have lobbying within the party, which is like a really big thing for me. And that grassroots element, knowing that if I joined the party, I would have as much say as any other member. I didn't.
So basically, by your fact of being a human being and a member of the Green Party, you have certain rights there, constitutional rights, as it were. And it's not like if you pay for somebody's wallpaper, maybe you can call them direct in their apartment.
Which is something that wallpaper is golden. The golden wallpaper is
so it's interesting that, and I think it's a much under-discussed element of UK politics and electoral coverage. Where's all this money coming from? I mean, obviously in Welsh politics, it's kind of opened the door for you all because of the Von Gething leadership campaign scandal. Like, without that, we might be looking quite a different picture right now, as in terms of the Welsh context, at least.
Yeah, within Wales, I guess. I mean, Stam as a whole different issue. We won't go down on that, but yeah, I mean, they just
let's say Starmer wasn't resistant to receiving financial support.
Some glasses here.
Yeah,
and there, you need to be able to see when you're prime minister.
I mean, this kind of drip, you know what I mean, needs assistance.
It is a type of drip, I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, I'm a type of drip, I suppose you could say.
You're dripping.
But what just to come back to it, so like it's interesting because obviously most people would expect someone who's come into the Green Party to be, I mean, driven primarily by climate change, climate crisis, you know, Greta Thunberg, these kind of characters.
So, yeah, but I've always seen it as two sides of the same coin, right? You can't solve inequality without solving the climate crisis. The climate crisis affects poor people the most.
Disproportionately.
Yeah, disproportionately. Yeah. And even within Wales as well, if you look at like things like air pollution, for example, it's the poorest people in society that are suffering the worst from air pollution. And again, housing and flooding, everything like that.
Everything negative, or like, you know, we saw in COVID as well. Yeah. It's like if you're already in a vulnerable group, I mean, unfortunately, that's going to hit you harder. So and climate change has that characteristic.
Yeah, and I say that's one of the main reasons that drove me to want to be more actively involved within the party as well. Is like I don't see many people like from areas where I was involved in politics. That makes sense. There seems to be a lot of, especially within Welsh politics and especially within Welsh Labour, a lot of like generational. Your parents were a Labour councillor or whatever, and now you've become a Labour councillor and made your way up to being an MP.
Kind of an aristocratic model.
It's very strange, and Plaid has their own uniqueness as well, which is very representative of Wales as a whole.
To be fair, though, I would say it's always tricky to pick who's going to be in charge, right? Yes. I mean, so I mean, obviously, in the Greens, they do have an emphasis on kind of democratic selection mechanisms, but just historically, they haven't had as many people in these positions to hand it down to them. No. Just, you know, to give a fair.
It's not even that
accounting.
I didn't mean it more in that way. I meant more the way like who actually gets elected to positions within Wales, right? Like, it's not representative of Wales as a nation. We have one MS currently under the age of 35. I mean, how can that possibly be representative of the nation that we're in? So yeah, it's more about that. It's like actually promoting people that would actually be representative of us as a nation.
It's about the signals you're sending to people joining the party, right? Of saying that anyone can be a candidate, anyone can be elected. You don't have to have this kind of...
I think for any of us, you know, if you haven't seen somebody like who has your accent or background in a sort of position that you want to be in, it's hard to kind of believe your way into that. Whereas if you're, you know, somebody with my accent in Dublin is usually in a university context. It's not like, it doesn't sort of stand out. So it's all the more important then to realize that these new people coming through are kind of doing it for the people behind them as well. 100%. And sure, if you don't get involved in politics, your politics is going to get involved in you anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's affecting everything to do with your life anyway, so why not get involved with it? Which is like another good thing about our membership growing so much. It's much more diverse as a party, you know. When I first joined, I was like one of a handful of young people in Wales Green Party, I'd say. And now it's much better in terms of diversity, in terms of young people, far more people that aren't white, which is really positive. We have far more people actually grew up in Wales. We used to have a lot of people grew up in England and moved to Wales. Just a lot of Welsh people either joined Labour or Plaid, essentially. So I'm glad that that's changed as well.
Do you see that this... obviously, there'll be a multitude of different reasons why people are signing up, but do you see it being more down to a kind of positive offering that you're able to provide to them, or a negative reaction to a surge for reform?
I wouldn't say it's to do with reform at all. I would say it is the more positive aspect of it, and the stuff that Zach Polanski is putting forward as well. I think part of it is meeting people where they're at, so people are justifiably angry, right? Really, you know, they see their lives getting worse than they were in the past, and people can see that their children's lives were not going to be as good as their lives were, and that's really drove people into wanting positive change, which is what I think Zach Polanski is really good at getting across, and that's one of the reasons the membership's gone up so high. But I don't think it's a reaction to reform necessarily. I mean, I think that's what reform do more so by driving that derivative in terms of like dividing communities, essentially, is actually driving more people away from politics. It does work in a different ways, I guess, within a first past or post context. Like, people vote differently because they want to stop.
We get to have a bit of a Gorton-and-Denton chat now in a bit, where the first past the post is like delivering some box office. It's safe to say, right? Because that just to presage that will all be a very much about tactical defection. Whichever left bloc makes the gains there is going to win the election.
Yeah, we saw it in Caerphilly, right? With the by-election there. That's like my local party area, Gwent. So I was heavily involved with that, and obviously, it was all everyone.
Plaid got the strategic vote.
Yeah, if they wanted to vote for you, they weren't going to vote for you because they just didn't want the reform candidate to win. So I'm glad we don't have that now within the Senate at least. But
so before we get on to some forecasting, you might be repeating your answer a little bit from the previous question, but I guess like what is your pitch for the party ahead of the Senate elections in May to people who might be considering voting for Greens? What's the offer?
Yeah, I would say the main offer is that we generally want to make your lives better. And I know that might sound
that's a pretty good
that might sound cliche, right? But these other parties, these establishment parties, I'm going to go on, that have been in the Senate now for 26+ years. What have they actually done for you? They've done a lot of like nice talking in back rooms with nice sounding things like the Future Generations Act and stuff like that. But what does that have to any teeth to it? No. Does it actually benefit your life? No. So what we're saying is we will demand certain things of whoever is the main party, let's say. So if we have any like confidence supply agreement or just as opposition, we're going to say we want rent control. We want to bring in ending zero fault evictions. We want to improve the NHS. We want to make Dŵr Cymru an actual nationalised company owned by the Welsh government, not this weird system it's currently in, which doesn't work for nature or for people that still have some of the highest bills in the whole of the UK within Wales.
Yeah, so Dŵr Cymru is the water.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a public water company.
Well, it's not really public water company.
Yes,
it's
good.
Nominally.
No, and I do accept that correction. Yeah, I do, and I can see why that. So it's actually what. I just have one further question in a minute, but just to say the pitch is interesting because it's so you guys are going granular in a sense of like practical stuff that's like could have been done, hasn't been done, or like could be done without like needing a new constitution of the UK. It's like, okay, A, B, C, D.
Yeah, I mean, like to solve all of the problems in Wales, you would need a complete restructure of the UK, right? Which is ultimately why I support independence. But that's not what the offer is at this election, and also we know we're not going to get more stuff from this Welsh UK government, let's say. So we're working within the context of this. So when our manifesto comes out, it will be within that context. There's only certain things we can do. We don't have powers over taxation that much.
No, I think we need to raise an army first and foremost. So thank you for, and it's good to. I think we'll try and give everyone like a political guest, like a similar fair pitch.
Any candidate that comes on, any representation, they will all get that same kind of question.
Just regarding the structure of the party. So this is a bit of an archaic question, but so it's the Wales Green Party, which, as I understand it, let me give my characterization, is still a kind of a branch of the England and Wales Green Party, but will become sort of more autonomous soon, or has already become. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out the.
I understand.
And obviously, Scottish Greens is a separate party, but obviously all part of the Green family. Yeah.
I understand it is confusing for people from outside the party. So Wales Green Party is semi-autonomous party within the Green Party of England and Wales. Basically, the Green parties in the UK, so including Green Party of Northern Ireland and the Scottish Greens, were all one party originally. The Scottish Greens and the Green Party of Green Party of Northern Ireland is part of the Green Party of Ireland. But anyway, they broke away.
Proper order.
Yeah. They broke away in like the early 90s. And to give some context of that, like there was like a few hundred members maybe of the party at that time. So maybe like, let's say 100 in Wales. I mean, this is before I was born anyway. But like that's the context when the Scottish Greens and Northern Irish Greens broke away. Now, if Wales Green Party had broken away at the same point as that, then it'd be a very different situation. The party obviously does support independence. We have complete like control over all devolved matters. Like we're not getting told what to do by the English.
You're not waiting for Nigel to like finish his lunch to tell you what's happening.
It is basically its own party. It just happens not because of fluke history, but also because we're a grassroots party. Anyone could make a proposal to conference for us to break away, and
So there's there's a policy process.
Yeah.
And the semi-autonomous status is the kind of status quo then going into the election. Yes. And there's a mechanism through which that might or might not be amended. And that's like any other party in a sense, right?
In a sense, although I don't think other parties are actually as democratic as us.
No. But just to say, there is a possibility, say, that Welsh Labour could divorce UK Labour, and I mean, it doesn't seem like the marriage is going really well at the moment. But no, I do accept your point that there's more like a flow chart nearly that you can visualise of, okay, what would change look like?
I think most people within Wales Green Party will say it's inevitable, put it that way, at some point. It's just about the timing of it, because it will be undoing a lot of stuff, because obviously you have shared staff members in terms of IT resources and everything else.
It's not the time when you're finally cresting in the polls to split. Right? Like, albeit, as I think it probably is down to just policy differentiation and kind of the granularity you're talking about. It's not really, what's the word? It's not really fair to have the English lads be as across the Welsh stuff as the Welsh lads are.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? That does make sense.
No, 100%. I guess also within that context of Wales Green Party, within the wider Green movement, let's say, we have something called Green Isle. So as one of the leaders of Wales Green Party, I have meetings with the English Green leader, Green Party England Wales leaders, let's say, Scottish Green leaders, Green Party of Ireland, and the Green Party of the Isle of Man. So
wow.
Meetings. So there is also that wider context, and then we're also a member of,
Does the guy from the Isle of Man come in on a ship or something, like a Viking ship?
Thankfully, we have internet these days.
That's extremely racist towards people from the Isle of Man.
I mean, it's cool.
I've never been to the Isle of Man, so hopefully we will have.
Yeah, and I'd love to go to the Isle of Man.
It's really cool. But so we do have that context as well, I guess, and also we're part of the European Greens and global Greens, so it is like a proper global movement, not just we're like an internationalist party essentially. We're not like a nationalist party, even though we believe in independence.
Awesome. Okay, well, we'll pivot then. Thank you very much for that. We're going to spend the rest of this episode talking about horse race politics.
Yeah.
The name
bit
of the
of
show.
campaign chat now, yeah.
Yeah, so as I said in the intro, horseracepolitics.com, all one word, all lowercase. It is now live. Think prediction markets just without any money, because we're broke. But no, it's very different. There's no financial gambling. There's no element to it. There's no win or loss. It's just points. It's just leaderboards. There's trophies. There's a profile page. And we're going to kind of do a mini site tour today, but we're going to go through a couple of the live races that we have on the website right now. We're going to go through 3 of them, actually. So we'll begin, as you got my lovely co-host can see, on the screen, we have, if I just close this side menu, we're going to start with the Gorton-and-Denton by-election, because at the time of recording, this is happening tomorrow. So this is a pretty important, spicy by-election going on right now, being contested by, principally, it's classified as like a 3-horse race, is kind of some of the narrative that we're seeing emerge between Greens,
I think
Labour,
at this
Reform
point there's
and
only
Labour.
really 3 plausible winners. I think that's where it is.
I would argue 2. But
2-horse
well,
race,
that's indeed I think just to presage, like, this is the market, and you can see that indeed. Maybe even a 1.5 horse race is the way that our market sees it. So this is just the average of the various people who filled in a position. So we'll kind of go through ours in a minute. But the polling versus the markets are an old theme from previous seasons of this podcast. So the betting markets are like seeing as green, seeing it very similar to this. The pollsters and Rob Ford, old guest of the show, are like, it's too close to call. In terms of just the not raw polling numbers, the kind of polling estimates coming out right now. So why is that happening? I think because the likelihood is there's going to be tactical defection to the Greens among undecided voters. And that sort of favourite status is mattering in a way that it doesn't usually matter. Even such that poor old Rob himself was featured on, I understand, Green campaign literature, saying
he was not happy about
saying
that.
Saying that it was a 2-horse race indeed. So the polls give. I was surprised to see how strongly Labour had polled late in the campaign, but the Greens were edging all 3, and obviously the kind of first past the post strategic dilemma, what we won't be talking about in the Senate election, thankfully, faces us where the Reform are positioned to come through the middle if a sort of strategic coordination doesn't happen. So this is like political science, electoral systems 101.
But in layman's terms, it's
case
effectively there are these kind of left-wing options that if they fail to coalesce, you're saying that because there's no kind of comparable right-wing equivalent, that it sets it up potentially for Reform to come through. Reform aren't worried about a mass surge for the
Well,
Conservative vote.
let's say like either Labour or Green voters would be pretty upset with the Reform victory. I think that's the situation. Imagining that Zach and Sir Keir got together and they put in an agreed candidate, Andy Burnham plus a Green Rosette or something, they'd be winning. Right? The block is bigger.
Yeah.
No, but obviously the Greens have taken this thing by the scruff of the neck. There's national polling this morning, which has them, again, all margin of error, but like actually ahead of Labour nationally, which might be one of the first times a proper poll has pushed that out.
There's been a few in the last few months, but yeah, we are
really impressive. So Gorton-and-Denton is the test of this proposition. Normally, the Greens are losing strategic votes to Labour. Can it flip the other way? Our market seems to think so. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about that.
Yeah, so I mean, when it comes to using horse race politics, it's as simple as submitting a forecast using these sliders on the left that will automatically auto adjust to 100%. So as of recording, these thicker lines are me, as I've seen, have been a bit volatile, but I'm in the space of kind of like 80% plus for Hannah Spencer. I was up at 100%. And kind of dipped a little bit recently, just in case. And in terms of how it works, you get more points for allocating as large a percentage as possible to the correct outcome as early as possible. That's the essence of forecasting. Get it right and get it right as early as possible. So I've kind of gone for maybe like an 80-20 split for Spencer, but I will pass it. We'll go.
But
Matt
just
first.
to say, get it wrong, give a wrong outcome. So you're like all or nothing Hannah Spencer here, season 1, right?
Exactly.
Like if Hannah, who's like amazing candidate by the way, doesn't come through, I'll be outperforming Louis because I'm just inside those margins, albeit still favouring Greens as an outcome.
Yeah, I've just gone more extreme. But that's the risk, right? Is the more confident you are on a particular outcome, if you get it right, then you're going to get more points. You get points, you climb the leaderboard, you get trophies, and we also have we won't really get into it this week, probably next week, because we're going to be breaking down the Gorton-and-Denton by-election next week using horse race, but you kind of develop a prediction persona as well. So you kind of learn about your own forecasting style through horse race politics. So that's one to know. I believe you were the believer yesterday, and I was the optimist. So what that says about us, I don't know.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't get together as a couple. I think that doesn't sound like a good combination.
So, Matthew, as of recording, you had gone for, down here in the bottom left, we can see Matt has said 42% to Greens, 27% to Reform, and 31% to Labour. So
just the polling this morning.
But that's your most recent prediction. That's not like your average.
Yeah, and I think that's just how do I say just? I say that's mostly a hedge against having been like much stronger on the Greens across the campaign. So largely I've been just translating the betting odds into my forecast and then updating when I read Rob Ford's Substack and learn more about the actual substance. So the betting markets would still be favouring Green, as of this morning at 6 a.m. when I looked.
Yep.
The polling just gave me caution. I guess I saw a way plausibly for Labour to come through and for Reform to come through. Reform have run a bad campaign though. I mean, inside Sackett might come up indeed. The
Matt
nature
Goodwin,
of that.
your former colleague, or not colleague, associate perhaps, acquaintance.
But then I have to be conscious of my own algorithmic bias towards someone like Hannah Spencer, who's like exactly the kind of politician I want to see. We talked about people who are coming from an ordinary background, and my professional what's the word? The fact that the Reform colleague is a candidate, is a colleague of mine, a former colleague, who is espousing views about like women's reproductive rights that I find intolerable. So I'm trying to hedge because I feel like there's an emotional component, and so I'm thinking, just look at the poll numbers. This could go 3 ways.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't be shocked if Labour came through. You'd be surprised maybe, but like stunned.
Yeah.
Go on, let's hear your thoughts. Sorry.
That comes on to
We've talked around it a bit.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, so I've gone 70% Green, 30% Reform for the prediction.
Okay.
I mean,
You've dropped Labour out altogether, basically.
Labour got no chance. So you'll go from polling's very small number of people. I've got a bit of insider knowledge, I guess.
Exclusive. That is just a very quick good point, that the polls that we have seen from Gorton-and-Denton, some of them it's a sample size of like 100 people. So there are some kind of flaws with this, but I just to say, I'm in more of the kind of the betting markets camp as well in terms of how I've grounded this for my prediction.
Yeah.
I've kind of followed along with that. I've been maybe like 10% more bullish than the markets have, but that's more or less the structure for mine. So I've gone for basically more of that. Matt's going kind of like a nice hybrid approach. And Phil,
just all over the place.
I've been intimidating voters on the streets and saying, how are you going to vote?
I stole Matt Goodwin's gilet. So he won't be able to campaign the last 2 days now. So that's a bit of inside
Green
trading.
Goblin's mask. He's powerless.
Go ahead.
So yes, Phil, yes.
So obviously I haven't been up there myself because we've been busy in Wales, but loads of people I know have been up there.
It's huge, right?
Yeah, it's massive.
Campaign,
Like the ground campaigning, we've like smashed it by far in terms of the ground campaign in there. And like you say, I think reform selection of candidate was a really big like negative for them in terms of trying to win it. And yeah,
Like there's places you could run, Matt, like, and it would be on his kind of vibe. But this is not the place.
no. And yeah, Hannah, I mean, Hannah's a like close personal friend, so I'll leave that bit over as well.
Sure.
But like in terms of what I've seen from ground campaigning and some insider data and just like numbers and the amount of doors we've knocked and people we've spoken to and everything, we're definitely winning the ground campaign. So it's basically, I think it's come down to turnout, right? If we can
turn out and don't knows.
Yeah. If we can get these people out, I think we'll win.
Yeah.
Basically, it depends how much. I'm not confident Reform are that good at getting people out, and I'll go back to Caerphilly again as well. Right, there was a lot of polling before that saying how close it'd be.
And this was always the thing: is like, can Reform because they're trying to convert non-voters into voters, basically.
Yeah, they have shown they can do that a bit in like by-elections, like local by-elections for council seats. I've seen that in areas which they've actually got a higher turnout of by-election than the previous full election.
I mean, we saw it in the Brexit vote.
Yeah,
that was the turnout was the story of that vote, man.
Yeah, but like on the ground, Labour got no chance. Like there's a couple of like pockets in the area where they might do okay in, but other than that, like everyone knows it's between Greens and Reform in the local area.
Do you think that there's a this is more of a suspicion, like an apprehension of people within the Labour Party, like a fear of going out onto the streets and knocking on doors because of just how bad the last kind of year and a half or so have been for Keir
because of
Starmer.
the Mandelsons.
And the Mandelsons stuff as well,
recently, but like Keir Starmer is so unpopular, right? So I'm not gonna say within that context of that area, but like where I live, like usually you don't hear people speaking about politics that much. But if I go to a pub or a cafe or anything, and these are not people speaking to me, it's just me like overhearing conversations, right? For like the solidly last year, it's just everyone saying how awful Keir Starmer is, how awful the Labour government's been. So that's just like the general census of the population now, right?
And the evidence base, survey-wise, backs it up, what they're saying. I mean, and I've been also struck, though, by how it's like a lot of people kind of care about how much they dislike the guy.
Yeah.
It's not just a sort of, if you're pushed, I don't like him very much. It's like, I viscerally don't like this.
I guess not just him, but the Labour Party, the last general election, promising change. And they, like, people, what change? There's been no positive change, so I guess that's part of it. But, like, they really try and get people out to knock doors just anywhere, right? Local by-elections is basically just sitting councillors and, like, family members of the candidates and MSs in Wales that they're getting out to knock doors. And that's, like, seems to be everywhere across Wales. They don't have a membership base to go out door knocking, canvassing, phone
and
banking.
I think that's like, I think for Polanski sort of, and in general green politics, I think this kind of making it fairly inclusive and fun and sort of something you'd actually want to do.
Oh yeah.
Like that's where I think Polanski does have a personal charisma there.
Yes.
Like I've seen him kind of like winding up the foot soldiers. Not that sounds worse than it is, but kind of getting everyone vibed up to go out.
You got to get people hyped up, right? And it is if you haven't done it before, it is an intimidating thing to especially go and knock someone's door and, you know, people get intimidated by it. But, you know, I think that's one thing we are really good in the Greens, actually, is, you know, we have systems in place for training people and we make sure people go out with them on their first time and they feel comfortable. And then within, like, a few door knocks, they realise, like, most people are fine and lovely to speak to.
When I was 16, I did work experience for a Labour councillor in Dublin, right? So I was interested in politics like you would have been when you were younger. And he just, like, brought me out with them for some door knocking, and like at lunch I just went and like cried on my own door. I was like, this is brutal.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do people do this every day, you know?
Most people are lovely to you, that's what I say.
Yeah.
But like I think that's like if you look at the last general election, it's much different now because we're a much bigger party than we was then. But the 4 seats we won was all on the ground campaign, huge ground campaign. So we know how to do this, and we've been winning council seats for decades at this point now from doing that as well.
And it's
so that's
it's the nuts and bolts of campaigning,
Yeah.
you know. So like campaign studies is kind of my specialism in work here, and it's like that's what I'd always say to anyone, like ground campaign, like it's this sine qua non, we'd say, of a solid like of at the end of the day you want to get people out the door to vote on the election day.
Yeah.
Like that's a mobilization that is very difficult to do from like remote distances.
No, you need people. You need foot soldiers. People on the ground in all areas. And I think that's where the grassroots aspect of the party helps us as well. But yeah,
we can use that then as a chance to kind of pivot into our second race that we want to talk about today, which is the Labour versus.
But just to say, Gorton-and-Denton Thursday, they're actually going to
Tomorrow.
have this vote. So
Tomorrow.
we're not just speculating about something very far away.
Next week's episode will be about breaking down the result of that.
The fallout will be massive if pretty much any result ensures a massive fallout way outside of the actual political importance of the by-election.
We'll be breaking it down through horse race politics, so we'll see who scored the best, and we'll look into Matt and my kind of forecast performance and see what works best. But the second of 3 races that we want to talk about today is who you think which party will win more votes, the Welsh Greens or Welsh Labour. And the horse race politics player base at the moment is putting Welsh Labour at 64%, and Welsh Greens at 36%. So I went more or less.
Could I just explain here, because this is something I've been showing people to site. So we're not. This isn't what percentage is going to be won by these parties.
Yes.
This is the likelihood that one beats the other.
Yes. So if you think that Welsh Labour is going to win by 1 vote, but you're really, really confident, you might say 100% to Welsh Labour. I'm more or less bang on where the average is right now, thinking that I obviously believe that the Greens are going to perform very well in this election. I think Labour, at the time of writing, now bear in mind that we're still 71 days away from the election, probably still have enough. We're not even writing, exactly. You have to remember that this is more votes. This is not more seats. So there's definitely. So I'm thinking that there is still going to be, potentially might be enough across the country for Labour to still earn more votes. Whether I'm right or not is a different matter. Do you remember what you guys said for this race?
Yeah. Do you want to
go ahead.
Well, mine's probably, I guess I'm being a bit optimistic and party political here, but I went for 50-50. But I will say, obviously, if Labour do get less votes on us, and that's a huge embarrassment for them, as much as it would be a massive
It's like
victory
historical.
Yeah.
Unimaginable.
Yeah,
as long as I've lived in Wales.
Even the fact that we're discussing it, right, shows how crazy this is. Like, if you look at the percentages at the last, I know it's a different voting system, but the last set of elections are just any vote in British history, essentially, like big nationwide vote.
In British, like in a Welsh context where Labour has just been this hegemon, you know.
But the only reason I'm like going that optimistic with it is because of, like I said, part of my role, I travel around Wales, and everywhere I go, it's just people being negative about Labour. Even if they're like not positive about the Green Party, they're definitely not positive about Labour either. The only people I've seen positive about Labour are like really entrenched Labour members, like basically people that are already elected as councillors and stuff. And so many of our new membership are ex-Labour people as well that have joined us in Wales. Which is,
I mean, I think that. Yeah, I mean, I was struck similar in Manchester. Like a lot of the coverage I've seen of volunteers is like, I used to be a Labour volunteer. Can we use this to talk a bit about Welsh Labour's campaign and an ongoing source of amusement to me personally? So Sir Keir visited. He briefly alighted in and I liked that it was just like, he will be in South Wales. That was the reportage. God. So I was like, and I was trying to explain to my students, I'm like, I think if he said exactly where he's going to be, there'd be a protest.
Yeah.
He literally is like I don't know what you'd call him. Like what is someone who you have to surgically insert and then remove before they raise so much hatred that there's violence? That's Keir Starmer, but he was here with the goodies, right? So Ed Morgan has staked her sort of leadership really on her ability to extract like political concessions from the other end of the M4. The shape of the goodies was a somewhat disappointing offer on trains. which kind of fell apart a little bit on. So like this was it. This was like they've got. I think they've also got the budget going up a little bit with the new financial year, right? This is as good as it's going to be. And we had this kind of like, it reminded me of Boris Johnson's 40 hospitals. It's like 400 train stations and like, and you're like, well, substantively, what does that mean? And they're like, we commit to that. That's what it meant. There was no new budget. There was nothing had changed. As Theresa May style, nothing has changed. Was the message, but it's like, I've briefly alighted in Wales and kind of like just washed that away from me now that I'm back to London. It was a disastrous intervention.
If I can go briefly on the train thing as well, it was just complete typical Labour vagary towards Wales a couple of months out before an election, because that promise doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't promise more rail funding for Wales. Half the train stations they're on about are already being built, or already planned to be built. Although, again, without promising any extra funding, it doesn't actually do anything.
It's a commitment from Keir Starmer's leadership of the Labour Party, which might end at any minute.
Yeah.
Like, indeed, it's one of our markets on horse race politics.
It is, indeed.
Also, it comes back to change, right? Promising change at the last general election. And the big thing in Wales that general election was, we have a red seat at each end of the M4. And what have they actually given to Wales since they've been in power? So, yeah.
Well, there's... So they've had an announcement on in Sman with nuclear energy.
Yes.
That was sort of and the budget of the Senedd is going to be larger. The Welsh Government budget, I should say, is going to be larger than it has been in a while. So that's it. That's what you're getting. And you know, to go to your point about housing and these kind of more day-to-day issues, I've just so struck by how Welsh Labour are coming across very like happy with the way things are. They're like, it seems to me like, you know, Ellen Ed Morgan's confronted with, I don't know, literacy statistics, NHS waiting lists, and she just has some other statistic that's like, it's actually better in Wales. She's like, RA levels are better than England, and I'm like, okay, like I know this is your record, but like if you're coming across so detached from reality, and then you've got this party coming up who are talking about housing policy and rent control.
It also comes back to what you were saying then about like them not recognising the reality of it. I think a lot of that is that we've had people in the Senate now for 26 plus years. A lot of these people have checked out. A lot of people aren't standing against.
It's a pretty good setup, right?
And also it's changing a bit now, and Will Hayward's definitely part of it. But the
media.
Yeah, the political media in Wales was very friendly to MSs, and there was very little scrutiny on them. And when I've been at like hustings or media, TV, radio, whatever, with a lot of Welsh Labour MSs, it's just like you can see that they don't understand the reality that normal people are living in Wales. And you're thinking, you're not representing anybody but your little own bubble in Cardiff Bay, and how is this actually beneficial to anyone? And then you also get stuck in another problem, which when you have people in politics for that long, right, is they've been spending most of their lives now in back rooms making chats about things, and isn't this great? This one we can pick out this specific statistic on something, and that shows that we're doing a great job, and it becomes like a backslapping sort of thing where everyone convinces themselves they're doing great.
It does become quite toxic when you're having to like try and convince people that things are better than they actually are.
I quite like the pattern where they like set a target, fail to meet the target, congratulate themselves on having set the target in the first place, and like good. Set a new target.
This is the Senate speciality, right? It's like making fluff essentially. It's just things that don't actually do anything to improve people's life, but sound good on paper.
They do sound good.
Like I said, if you said you've got a Future Generations Act, that sounds amazing.
It does sound pretty cool.
Sounds fantastic on paper, but what does it actually do?
Yeah, people don't
nothing.
know.
So.
On the other side of the leadership equation is Anthony Slaughter, your own party leader here in Wales.
Probably the coolest name in politics. It must be said, though.
And he's a former punk rocker.
Nice.
In the anti-apartheid tradition. Yeah. So this guy's got some game, but like I haven't seen a lot of him. Do you think, like, obviously just naturally he has to get more coverage?
Yeah, we have been getting a lot more coverage. I guess you have to be particularly I guess I'm not the best person to ask on this, right?
Yeah, because you're following like every
I know all
pod,
the stuff he's doing, and I know all the
Yeah.
stuff I've been doing and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's how much that breaks through as well.
Yeah.
Like so much of Welsh media is still actually UK media coverage, right? That's where people are getting information from.
Yeah.
He has done stuff though. He's been on Will Hayward's podcast.
Yeah,
He's
that's where I
constantly on
first
BBC.
saw him at length, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow, this fella can communicate
Yeah,
pretty
really
well.
good.
Yeah,
He's a really nice guy as well, which is
which
people might
comes
expect me to
across
say
a
that,
little
but,
bit.
he's like,
No, he do, I mean, I think that's again like a pod format is a kind of new feature of a campaign, right?
Yeah.
Where like you can have an hour long chat with the Will Hayward and the comedians and stuff there, and you can get your personality
well,
out.
yeah, right as well.
Yeah.
We can have more. I
You
wouldn't
can
be able
dip
to,
in a bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to have these discussions when I'm on like a media appearance. So like I was on BBC Wales Cast debate thing 2 weeks ago. There's 6 of you on there. It's an hour-long program.
Yeah.
They got to get through loads of questions. So how much time do you actually have to go into
Exactly.
any detail on anything they ask you?
Yeah.
Not much.
No.
But here you can, and also
Relax.
have nice nerdy discussions as well. Which,
Yeah,
a bit of insider talk, but it's still nice.
Yeah.
yeah. So there's more. I mean, again, campaign nerdy stuff. There's more campaign bandwidth now, basically, than there ever has been in the history of. Like, and tomorrow there'll be more again. It's just the way it's going. Yeah.
I guess in the past we've always struggled because we weren't within a Welsh context. Like we weren't invited. So the general election last time we wasn't invited to the debate within Wales. We was on the main BBC debate that is. And I was on the spin room for the ITV one as well. But like that's a big problem with it as well. Now they can't not invite us, right? The membership numbers are so high, the polling.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we're getting invited to everything, so that's making a big difference.
Yeah, it
as
becomes
well.
cyclical at that point, right? Because if your audience is so big that you have to be on, then you're going to reach more people, which will then grow the audience.
I will put one spanner in that.
Okay.
BBC Question Time is still a disgrace. And a week out from such a massive by-election in Manchester, having Reform on there, Labour on there, and no Green Party can't.
That's crazy.
Representative. I don't think that's good at all.
Well, final race of the
you're represented here first. The first political guest is Green, and we tend to be on trends here. This is something that we observe. So obviously you've gone 50-50. The market has just on the head to head previously. So the market does have Labour still as the kind of nearly like what's the word, like the natural winner there. That Greens aren't on the floor, as you say.
No, the fact that even people are saying we have, what was it, 36%?
Got 50, 55, but on the
36
average,
overall.
36%.
So, I mean, that is incredible.
Wait till see Gorton. If Gorton goes Green, as you figure it is likely to, again, this momentum can keep going, and unfortunately, like the Greens' benefit is Labour's decline in kind of zero-sum game of politics. Yeah.
So we'll go to the final race that we want to discuss today, which is whether turnout will hit 50% or not, which it's yet to do in a Senate election. At the moment, our audience has put it at about 69 to 31% chance of happening. So there's a...
Oh, can you put the dots on there? Just because the spread is huge here. Look at the spread.
The lines disappear. I mean, I can just put my forecast on as kind of like a proxy for the averages because it's pretty close. But yeah, so each dot is like part of a pair. So like a yes and a no is associated with each one. But we have, lots of dots down around 0, which means we have lots of dots up around 100%. But if I, let's just hide the dots again and we'll just show the averages. As you can see, we're kind of like 70-30 roughly as the percentage. And if you at home think that you are more confident about a particular outcome happening, sign up, horseracpolitics.com.
Top the leaderboards.
You're going to be hearing that a lot, right? So what did you guys go for this race?
Oh yeah, so I went, I think something like 85% yes. I think my thing might be down on.
Oh yeah, you are still here. 85% yes.
Oh,
so you're very very
recall.
assertive on this one.
As I said, I think when I posted, it's mainly just a function of like a big part of my job is trying to help people to vote. In terms of like the public impact of the Welsh election study that funds this podcast, and so. In the absence of dramatic evidence, I choose to believe. I think this is by far the most covered and sort of high-profile Senate election that I've ever been here for. I am troubled a little bit about whether the dial is really moved or turnout wise. So like I think that's where I'm at with it. It's more of it's not really a reasoned analysis. It's like, I just want it to happen,
Mm.
and I see the ingredients for it to happen. Will it happen or not? I think the market probably has it better. I think if Wales doesn't breach 50% turnout, I'm just washing my hands to the country. I would go move to like, I don't know. I'd like, where does Snoop live? I can just follow Snoop back to California or
I
whatever.
live in
I'd
Swansea
imagine.
now,
Yeah.
like a true patriot. Come on.
Or, I mean, we have to do it, guys. We
Yeah.
can't never have had 50% turnout in a national election. It's not right. Like, so that's it's totally emotional.
So if Matt's filled me with some belief, I'm going to say 75%, and I'll update my forecast, and you'll see the lines kind of update to reflect that. So if I hide the averages, I can see, oh, look at that. Full of confidence and optimism for a brand new Wales. Phil, what did you say?
Oh God,
for this
I
one?
have to bring it all back down now. No? I went for the dreaded ratio of 48-52.
Oh,
The cursed ratio.
Cursed ratio.
Cursed
So,
balance, yeah.
I hope you're right. Like, this is the thing, right?
So 52% no, is that?
Yeah, 52% no.
Okay.
But I was actually surprised that it was so positive. I guess there's a lot of
Optimists
optimists and
believers.
very
yeah.
like highly politically engaged people. I guess,
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
filling this out. But I guess my experience is more like, I might be a bit biased as well because I come from the area with like the lowest voter turnout
Yeah.
in Wales, but also just like going around door knocking and stuff. And the new electoral system should really help get people out. But like everything the Welsh government does, it's been explained terribly or just not explained to the public. So they don't have, like, the general public aren't constantly involved and engaged in conversations about politics or active political party members really don't understand this new system. Is what I found out from speaking to them. Right?
They're kind of apprehensive.
Yeah, and then the political nihilism's just so high in Wales anyway. It is changing a bit, and I do hope, like, you know, us as a party can change that bit and give people a bit more hope as well. But yeah, and also just the poverty levels in Wales, which people don't talk about enough. I mean, 1/3 of children growing up in poverty in Wales shows like how big a problem that is.
Yeah.
And if
that's one of the biggest drivers of turnout.
Yeah, exactly.
The social class. Like,
if you're, you know, struggling to heat your house, feed your kids, you ain't thinking about political stuff like this.
Yeah.
And you're also not thinking that these parties have been doing anything for you, right?
Exactly.
You might have been voted in the past and just given up on voting, or you might just never voted in your life because you can see in your local area that nothing's getting better, no matter who's in power. It doesn't matter in Westminster. We've had the same party in power in Wales for all that time, so it's a bit different. But like, I think that feeds into a bit of hopelessness. But I do hope it. I hope that it breaks it.
yeah,
It's one of those win-wins where it's
yeah.
like either you're right that it doesn't, in which case you get more points on horse race, or,
Wow.
or turnout
Life-changing,
is high, and then it's a happy election.
Yeah, no, and I think it's kind of it's an unusual betting market where you're for me anyway, where you're sort of protagonist.
Yeah.
And I know the Greens actually very like reform. One thing you agree on is you want to boost turnout.
Yes.
Right. So like yeah, that's an unusual situation, and it's not a bad thing to have what you hope for and be able to, like, as an adult, separate from what you think is going to happen.
Yeah.
I struggle with such,
I mean,
such
that's the
separation.
essence of horse race.
I think I'm too cynical on this, to be fair, as well. Though I think it's just like the last general election, for example, voter turnout was the lowest it's ever been in the constituency I stood in. Right, part of that's because everyone knew Labour was going to win anyway.
It was a grim election, wasn't it? Yeah, it was grim.
I mean, I was happy. Like, we had the highest Green vote ever there, like more than double we'd ever had before.
Right.
So even
It was
though-
already starting to become that
it
early
changed.
momentum now when you look back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was across Wales as well. We even came second in Cardiff, South and Penarth at the general election as well, which is really impressive in a Welsh context. Don't think the BBC was expecting it when the swingometer came up on the night. I was back from my polling and turned on TV just to see that. It's quite interesting. But yeah, I do, like I said, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope everyone turns out. And also getting the young people to actually vote for the first time, 16 and 17-year-olds. I'm happy that now, which wasn't happening before, is we're allowed more into colleges, sixth form colleges and schools to actually start speaking
Tell
to
people
young
about.
So I'm being Cross Keys College, which is not that far from where I live, a couple of weeks' time. I'm actually be able to speak to people there on a political level, which in the past, schools and colleges were so apprehensive about having anyone from a political party come there and speak to students before elections. It's like, well, why do you think the turnout's so low here?
Yeah.
I have to say I've had some very funny incidences with trying to engage young people in politics. And I remember we were doing an intervention. So it's easier to get in as an educator than as a campaigner.
Yeah.
And like we have this thing where we have the Likert scale, like strongly disagree to strongly agree on these maths. So I pose them political questions and have them stand where they stand. But I was like, okay, some things everyone agrees on. So who agrees that like we should be like more prosperous in 5 years' time? And this one kid just stood on the like strongly disagree. I was like, why? He's like, I want to be homeless. That's my goal. I was like, I think you can do it. I believe in you. Yeah.
You always have to allow for like mean outliers.
There's always one with the lizard constant, they call it in survey research, where it's like from the U.S. Census or whatever, and 4% of people said that they were a lizard, and it's like there's always 4% of people will always say
just
something
take the
really
religion as
stupid.
Jedi is quite a big one in UK sentences.
A lot of Jedi lizards.
Or there was one person in Scotland who put Sith, so like shout out to them.
There's some balance. There can only be two, so I don't remember. So just to kind of close things out, horseracepolitics.com if you want to forecast the forthcoming Senate elections. We usually close out every episode with our great crack and sad sack of the week, so we'll have to do this very quickly because I think we've already hit an hour. Matthew, do you have nominations for who's had a good week and who's had a bad week? Hit me with it.
I have many.
Hit me.
Andrew, Mountbatten, Windsor.
Oh my god.
Peter, Mandelson.
Okay. They've had a great week? Is that what you're trying to say here?
They're still at large. I don't know what I've let them out once I had them in the prison, or in the jail. But apparently,
both of them have been arrested in the last week.
You can gamble. You can predict whether either of them will be charged. On our kind of fun and engaging horse race politics platform.
Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor, or Peter Mandelson be formally charged by the 3rd. So that's in a week from now. And at the moment, the general sentiment is no. 65% think that neither of them will be charged in the next week. That's not will they never be charged. That's will they be charged in the next week.
So yeah, that's not a good place to be. And I think Andrew, we might talk about the reform campaign generally, but in Gorton-and-Denton. But Andrew's picture is a cultural moment. Is like iconography that this man is producing. You could spend £1 billion on an anti-monarchy campaign and not produce that image.
Yeah. Correct.
So that's sad sack as defined by losing the horse race.
Yes. Phil, do you have any nominations for who's had a terrible week this week?
Can I say that Welsh Labour
you can
generally?
You can say whoever you want.
I'm going to say Welsh Labour generally because all I'm getting is at the moment, whenever I go on YouTube, is adverts on Welsh Labour. And they are so bad and they're not going to convince anybody at all that they're doing a good job. They're trying to claim that they've the last 26 years in Wales have been this blissful, joyful place and it's going to continue. And I'm like, what world are you living in? Have you seen the child poverty levels in Wales? Have you seen how bad the education standards are? People are still attending, overcrowded and underfunded schools like I did. Things aren't improving under you, so stop trying to pretend this in your media to people. It isn't going to work. So I'm just going to put whoever's in charge of Welsh Labour's media output, especially on YouTube.
I was going to say it always brings us back to Richard Tunnicliffe and his "I Can Be Your Daddy" videos. So Welsh PR, Welsh Labour PR, you guys got to step it up.
Tunnicliffe is getting the jacket out. We got to go.
Only like Batman taking his cape out.
Jesus.
My nomination would have been the poor woman of Gorton-and-Denton, who Matt Goodwin is implying. Well, no, the good women of the UK, I'd say, as Matt Goodwin is implying that they're not having enough children, and it would be a reform policy to force them to have more children. I don't know. It's a very archaic worldview.
When you're having a chat with Jordan Peterson, you're going to say some stuff, right?
Yeah.
That in the cold light of day.
You're like,
whoa, where do we go there?
Yeah, it's like you've woken up and you've seen his Snapchat story from the night before. He's like, oh jeez, I posted some shite there.
That wasn't even the worst thing that happened on his campaign, right? So his campaign manager, is that there's been a resignation in the
I believe it was
Team Goodwin.
Campaign manager Matt Goodwin.
I mean, again, why would you pick them as a candidate? It's just incredible that that's the standard in British politics as well, though, right? The fact that we can joke about on here, but the fact that that's the candidate for one of the main parties going into an election and one of the main parties that's likely to win that election just shows everything wrong with a UK politics.
Interim campaign manager in Tameside. I'm getting up on. I've got it on my laptop. He's been assisting Matt Goodwin's Gorton-and-Denton election campaign. Communal leaders raised concerns about anti-Semitic and misogynistic social media posts.
he said he wasn't anti-Semitic, and then he made no comment about the misogyny. So not a strong effort. Chiming with my hope that I think most women in the UK aren't interested in being advised on their fertility patterns,
especially not by Matt Goodwin.
Yeah,
the gender split in voting, I don't like to go on this ages now, but like, it's ridiculous as well. Like if you look at the polling on gender split, and also our membership skews massively female, which is really interesting as political party. Very different to other political parties.
Well, and I think on the other side of that is like, why is Matt Goodwin there? Because he's a culture war guy. So very similar to Trump's appeal to like gender split amongst like under 30s is crazy in politics now. So like those messages are meant to be for young guys. I mean, that's who they're meant to appeal to.
Can I dispel that myth a bit as well, though? The polling for young men is actually really positive. I was surprised.
Interesting.
It gets talked about a lot in the media in this negative way, and it just isn't there. Like I understand it, and it's coming from like an American context more than anything, I think. But young men are some of the most progressive in the UK, at least. Are some of the most progressive like cohorts you'll find. The age split is a much different situation.
Age is king. Okay. Who's had a good week? I've nominated Rachel Reeves because she just found some money lying around, and so she's quite happy with that. And I feel like,
money tree.
Given how bad things have been for Welsh Labour, for Rachel Reeves to have a week where she's not being blasted relentlessly, the bar is very, 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 very low. Policy-wise, she's not in my great crack. She's just there because of the extra dosh. That's it.
I've got Swansea City FC.
Well done.
Our proud local institution. University, we are a sponsor of that proud football club. And Snoop.
As a Cardiff fan, I'm not sure.
Get out.
Well,
Delete the episode.
Even as a Cardiff fan, when like Snoop hits the pitch
cool.
and they had the flags waving, my head of department, Luca Trent, a guest on the show, has been there, has shown us the flag.
Wow.
Or the scarf type flag thing that they were giving out. I know, just good news for the city. We've had bad news about Marks and Spencer's in the same morning. So no, I mean, I would say Swansea City. Rob Stewart is the council leader here in Swansea, and I just was listening to him on the way, and I'm like, this is a good politician. I mean, knows his stuff, So if you want a political winner, it would be someone like Rob. But yeah, this city of Swansea went like full Snoop. Like the guy's going to Joe's Ice Cream. It's unbelievable scenes. So yeah, that I can't not mention that us being in Swansea.
Yes, Phil, do you have a nomination for who's had a great week? You can nominate yourself if you want. You
are
allowed to.
Have you heard of the deputy leader of the Wales Green Party?
I'm thankfully not that nasty. I'm not Trump. But I will go for a Green Party member. I will go for Hannah Spencer, a candidate, mostly because of the way she's dealt with absolutely ridiculous attacks on both the right-wing press and just individuals about...
heroin for babies?
But not even that, but just like personal attacks on her that are complete nonsense. Like the stuff about her husband. Well, for a start, she's not married, and then people claim she's not a plumber and stuff. Just really bizarre. And also the general misogyny and stuff you get. But I like the way she deals with it in such a comedic manner in terms of how she responds to social media videos and in the press and stuff. And I think that's what we need more of in UK politics.
We certainly haven't seen her like ratty, which can happen to people when they're attacked, right? I mean, like, I can get ratty if someone starts giving out about my family or something, right? But she's kept it kind of positive.
I think that's what we need, more humour. Zach Clancy's good at it as well. I'm trying to get that more in just like general green people stuff. It does affect you as well. Like, you get stuff on social media, I understand it. I don't really care. I just see it as them boosting the algorithm. It is the family stuff, or if you get like actual messages DM'd you that are like more worrying. But like, also, I can sit here as as a white male, and I know I get like nowhere near the amount as my female colleagues and my trans colleagues and my people of colour colleagues. It's just ridiculous the amount of hate they get.
Yeah. Well, on that lovely happy note.
No, she's a. I agree. I think like regardless of the result, the kind of type of politician that you can say has done well, has run a positive campaign, had like some funny lines like she's never seen Matt in the big Asda. So like, skillful but authentic communicator. Anyone who works in like manual work is much needed in politics, and I don't say manual with any.
No.
I mean, I wish I could do that kind of work myself.
Yeah.
I'd be better off.
I'd make much more money doing
But
it.
a lot there's not enough people in those kind of work in politics,
Yes.
and so yeah, I can concur with that evaluation.
Well, our horse race politics users put her at 55% chance against Matt Goodwin at 29%. So if you think you know better than our
Join the
users,
race.
sign up at horseracepolitics.com and join the race. Phil, thank you very much
Yeah,
for coming on
Thank
the
you so much
show.
for having me. Really
Welcome,
enjoyed
Mara.
it.
Great chat.
Welcome
You're more
back.
than welcome back. And hopefully for you, Hannah Spencer has a great day tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll
Fingers
be
crossed.
thinking of you. All right.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
Thank you.